Last month, I got to celebrate Christmas with the extended family again for the first time in 3 years. We did it the way we always used to. Everybody flying in and staying with us, their voices spilling through the rooms like the pile of gifts spilling out from under the tree. It was really good to be with them all. Less good was the stomach bug that got passed around. Last of all to me, as to one untimely born, knocking me flat for a couple days this past week. I'm all good now. But you know, my parents called each of those days just to see how I was feeling. And it touched me in a certain kind of way. It wasn't that they just remembered I was sick, like a friend or a spouse or a sibling would. It was like they were going through the illness alongside me, like they wouldn't feel fully at peace themselves until my health had improved. There's a kind of muscle memory in parental love that responds to you no matter how old you are, as if the vulnerable and dependent child you once were is still there, still in need of care and comfort, still an extension of their most precious selves. I remember thinking that no one in the world cares for me in quite that way. And once they are gone, no one ever will. Now, I want to tread lightly here and not make any universal statements. I know of parents who were profoundly unable to love in the way that their children needed, and of adult children whose struggles with addiction or mental illness forced their parents to break off contact for totally valid reasons. Also of people who provided or who found parental love outside of kinship. Still, it seems to me that for most of us, even with all our human flaws, there's something fundamental and wondrous about this parent-child bond. I think about a time when I jumped in a pool fully clothed to grab my toddler who had slipped from his floaty ring, or another, even when I kicked open a locked door in our house to save a daughter from what I thought was an emergency. These weren't situations that put me in any danger. They weren't heroic, in that sense. But what's so vivid for me is the reflexive singleness of will, the acting without deciding. I didn't even think about the camera and car keys in my pocket as I jumped in the water, nor about the door splintering at the latch as I drove my heel into it. I only knew that that wood was an obstacle I needed gone to protect the precious life beyond it. I'm guessing the vast majority of parents out there can relate. We now know that this special bond with a parent or parental figure is actually essential for human survival. You can take care of every physical need an infant has, but if you do not hold it, cuddle it, comfort and interact with it and love it, the baby will not survive. We also know that children who have even one adult in their lives who shows a bit of that love, as a teacher or a coach or an auntie, they have a template on which they can build a sense of themselves as lovable and as able to succeed in life. So as we celebrate the naming of Jesus on this day, I just want to hold up that parental love. Whether it actually comes from a biological parent or not, doesn't matter. That parental love, which is as essential to who we are as the name that is chosen for us, usually also by our parents. Indeed, God's love first comes to the human Jesus through Mary and Joseph. They are the earthly souls who enact and embody that miraculous parental bond in his life. They are the caring ones who hold him and sing to him and keep him warm. They are also the protectors who respond to Herod's threat of murder by rising in the middle of the night, grabbing Jesus and fleeing to Egypt instinctively without even considering what would be ruined, lost, or broken in the process. When you think about it, they are the ones who provide the foundational experience of love, without which Jesus would have nothing to draw on in his own preaching and healing. And so the divine love that Jesus brings into the world from his divine parent actually relies on the divine love already being expressed in the world by his earthly parents. There's a miraculous circularity to this story. Before God in human flesh can do anything with love, teach anything about love, heal anything through love, he has to experience love through his own mother and father. They have to participate in the project. They have to bond and care for and protect. And this is a role that we are called to play as well in whatever way we are able. The name Mary and Joseph give their child, following the angel Gabriel's instructions, actually means God saves. In giving their boy this name and then fleeing with him to Egypt to protect him, they show that even when God comes to love and save, God must first be loved and saved by you and me and anyone who has ever come into a world made gentle enough to survive by the parental love that was already there to catch us, feed us, and hold us safe. Amen.